Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and folks, welcome to episode 5 of Tow Truck Tuesday. We thank everybody for tuning in and hope you like today's show. We got Mr. Andrew Meinster with us today. Going to talk a little bit about some Towsurance, maybe talk about some other things, recreational sports, who knows. Stay tuned. We'll see you here at Tow Truck Tuesday. I gotta work on that intro, dude. I almost said Logistics Lounge so many times, Pedro.
That's funny, man. That's funny.
Yeah, it happens. What's going on, brother? How's your day going?
Dude, my day's good. Got put into this massive RFQ bid, whatever you want to call it, today. So that's pretty cool. It's like 174 lanes, and yeah. So doing that, and yeah, it's pretty much it, to be honest with you. That was all. Just trying to get that started, bro. That's a massive undertaking, dude.
That's what's up. Yeah, my day's been same as always, man. Reaching out to these customers, make sure they're set up with our new customer portal, doing some prospecting, watching loads. You know, same shit, different day, brother. Getting
I know, not every day is logistics exciting. It really isn't. Most days it's boring, and I like the boring days most of the time, to be honest with you. Like,
no,
I like the uneventful shit, just to call prospects, book trucks, all that stuff. I like the easy, non-eventful days. I don't need a bunch of complaining or claims or fucking trucks falling off. Like, no, just everybody show up on time, be where you're supposed to be, do what you're supposed to be, and everybody do their job. That's what I like.
The simplicities, man. You'd think it'd be that easy every day, but gotta love them today.
Mm-hmm.
But well, good stuff, man. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Don't have any news for you today, but we do have is a man that is very well versed in what I have called Towsurance. We've been talking about it a bunch. It is a pain in the ass for many roadside assistance people and tow truck companies to get. So we figured why not touch on a little bit more. So everybody, Mr. Andrew Meinster. And now meeting Andrew, I know that music is probably not your forte, huh?
I was doing a little dance, How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Good, man. It's, it's another day. It's Tuesday, almost to Hump Day Wednesday. So
there we go.
Making it work. So yeah, thanks for having me on here. This is great.
Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on and touching on this subject. So
for sure. Everybody loves insurance, right?
We gotta love insurance, man. It's important, and especially in this industry or the tow truck sector, dude. That is it blows my mind how big of a pain in the ass it is for people to get coverage, much less keep the coverage. So
right.
Let's go ahead and dive on into it, man. Like I said, Andrew, we ask everybody the same question, and I'm gonna ask you this right now. So who is Andrew, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so let's back up 10 years. So 10 years ago, I changed my life. I was completely running. I was into drugs for several years. Didn't really know what path I wanted to go in, and finally got clean. I stopped cold turkey. One of those few that decided to make that life-changing decision and never looked back. And with the help of obviously my family, my parents, I I was living with my parents when like my dad was like, maybe you could help me. We could start an insurance branch with what he's doing. So I studied and got my insurance license. And it took me like I think like 2 times to pass the exam. And then he wasn't quite ready at that time for me to start working on insurance for his company. So I decided to land a job with State Farm, where I was working with another agent. And if everybody knows State Farm, they are meaning that State Farm agents can only sell State Farm products. So that's like homeowners, auto, some life insurance. So, from the gate, that's what I was doing. I was selling, personal auto, homeowners, life insurance for a year. This was back in 2013, right? So I was doing that for a full year. But I noticed that when people called me, because I was friends with several different business owners, and when people called me, they were like, "Hey, can you get me a quote? I'm a contractor. I'm a towing company, or I have a body shop." State Farm is very limited in their capacity and what they can write. So I was like, "Wow, this is boring. I'm doing really well here. Let me reach out to another, see what else is out there." So in 2014, I landed a job with a company in Yardley, PA, called Nottingham Insurance. I was there for up until July, actually. So I went after, I first went after auto service, auto repair shops, and then I got into auto shops that do towing. And I just felt really at home with those types of companies. Like, they tell you when you're a new producer, a new agent in commercial insurance, find a niche and resonate with that group of individuals, right? I didn't feel comfortable going like into like a doctor's office, right? Or like, selling like business insurance to attorneys, or more like white collar business. So I, felt more comfortable in the auto service space. Did very well there. Just, found out that, oh, when there's a tow truck on a policy at a shop, there's more premium, more commission, right? So then in 2017, 2018, I started branching out and branding myself using the free social media landscape, right? Branding myself and getting into towing accounts nationwide. Developed a pretty large book of business there. And then in this past year, long story short, didn't work out at Nottingham. We ended up collectively selling my book, and my staff all moved to NSM Insurance Brokers, and we are a national specialty brokerage firm here in PA, but we have locations, all over the country, in the UK as well. So NSM Insurance Group, right? They are basically a wholesale MGA, meaning that they go to the insurance company and say, "Hey, we have a specialty niche for towing or for X, Y, and Z, like addiction treatment centers. Let us hire the underwriters. We'll use you as the insurance carrier, but we'll write the policies, service the accounts." So that's part of what NSM does. And then I'm on the retail side, and I deal directly with the customers. So I can access NSM Insurance Group's programs, and I can also access other various carriers out there in the marketplace. So yeah, we have about 1,100 towing customers, all over the country, except in like Massachusetts, Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico. We write pretty much in almost every state, from 1 truck account to 50 trucks. And yeah, that's sort of what got me here. I have a staff of 7 and another salesperson with me, and we just get after it every day. I wear joggers, I wear you know, I'm just comfortable. Like I'm not like a suit and tie insurance agent.
Oh, that's you fit right
Well, that
along
answers
here,
the questions. He's not wearing khakis.
No. They, you know, it's funny because there's a lot of different industries here, and like, you know, like the CEO, he's like, man, what do you just wear joggers every day? I'm like, listen, I got to dress to my customers. Like, they're not gonna want to talk to me if I'm wearing like a suit and a tie. Like, so it's, you know, I have fun with it. I'm comfortable. The blue collar, the trucking, anything with wheels, like I feel like I resonate with, you know.
Man, that's so. Talking about the fun and going back to the social media part, man. I want to roll this clip real quick that we found of someone that does some sponsoring for you, I guess you could say. And we want to ask you about how you use social media for your company, how it's done for you. You know, maybe some tips, some tricks, some things that you didn't like about it. But first, let's go ahead and run this real fast.
Yeah! Let me tell you something about insurance rates. When it comes to your tow truck insurance, if you're calling anybody besides Andrew Meinster, you're just crazy. Because we get in there, we get in the ring, and we work them. We give them the progressive punch out and the Geico let go. They don't have a chance against our rates. So you get on the phone, call this number on the back of my warm-up jacket right now. Andrew will take care of the rest. Get you the best rates humanly possible. And if somebody wants to challenge it, well, that's why I'm here. So you get on your phone and you call Andrew right now.
Dude, that is, oh man, that is amazing. So I guess actually, first of all, how did you meet him?
Yeah. So it was funny. So about 2 years ago, I followed him on social media. His name's Brian Wagaman, Tow Truck Wags. And, you know, I followed him on social media and I noticed a post, right? He's like, I'm looking for a sponsor for the Florida Tow Show. And I was like, man, this guy is big. I love what he's doing. I can get behind him. I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to pay for him to go down to the Florida Tow Show, market, you know, do some video marketing for me. And that's kind of how we part. And then from there, like he would do a few videos or one video a month. And then for the Baltimore Tow Show, I flew him in and we have a booth right next to each other. You know, at the shows, like people just come up and take pictures with him. So, you know, just using him and but also standing behind him and what he's about, I feel like, you know, was a good, you know, choice from us. And he's just a good, you know, good person. Like my kids know him. They come down to the show. So yeah, it's a good partnership.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. I've followed him for a while. I'm sure a lot of people know exactly who he is. But I mean, aside from him, Andrew, you know, what about social media as a whole for you? You know,
Right.
You know, you kind of said it backstage. You know, hey, insurance can be a droll. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
so you got to get people engaged in it, man. And you know, has it done good for you? What kind of stuff do you put out there on social media? Informative, creative, funny?
Yeah. So I try to just, you know, showcase my personality, but like I realized that, you know, every business needs insurance. And like if I can showcase real, like for example, with like trucking, like an accident, like if I were to take a video clip from YouTube, right, and show a trucking accident and then it cuts to me and I'm adding value and I'm talking about what happened, stuff like that, I feel like is just going the extra mile where, you know, I'm going to get myself out there and let people know that I'm selling insurance without being like, yo, let me quote your policy. You know what I mean? Like I'm adding value first with creating content, video content around the industry. So like for towing, like I'll see like of like something going wrong and I'll be like, hey guys, like what went wrong here? Show me what you would have done. Like, let's have a conversation. And then just like those types of videos. And then also I have a video guy that comes and films, and like we do, like he'll film like talk to like a new business customer, and then I'll say like, hey, this is what happened, like this is why I need this piece of information, and this is what it looks like on the back end. So I'm really trying to show a lot of transparency, and also like I feel for these guys, right? Like rates are going up, like across the board, like just trying to like be like, hey, listen, like I'm not the insurance company, but like I'm trying my best to figure out how we can get your rates lower, or like how we can lower, the accidents and with driver safety, risk controls in place. So just putting a different spin to it and showcasing my personality, I think is not, and not just like knocking on the door, like, let me quote your policy, but like adding value.
Yeah, man. I love it, dude. I think it's great when people in certain industries lean on social media to help bring awareness and stuff to it. Like lawyers, man. There's a lot of good lawyers out there that are really doing some good content. A lot of insurance people are really doing some good informative stuff and things that are really engaging. And like you said, being that transparency, showing a little behind the scenes, man. You know what I mean? You actually have a nickname, which kind of part of it's down there, and the insurance man. Tell us how that moniker came.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, I just created this Instagram handle, and it, my name's Andrew, so I was just like, I'm not gonna do like Andrew was too long, so I just shortened Andrew for Ann. I mean, some people get confused, like they think my name's actually Ann, but it's not. But yeah, no, I mean, no crazy story behind that, but that's how the name occurred, and I always think like maybe I'll change it one day, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna get around.
It flows, and the insurance man.
Right, exactly. So yeah, what else? Firing at me, guys.
Yeah, so you're talking about, obviously the social media, you're taking a different approach to it, and what you were saying about you have new customers, you go do videos with them, you're kind of digging into some of their problems and how you can fix that. So how much do relationships matter in the insurance industry? Because you got us driving regular cars around. It's like, okay, I don't like this certain policy, I'm going to go to Progressive, Geico, whatever it may be. But being in the niche you are, how much do relationships matter?
It matters a whole lot, especially with underwriters. If there's a borderline account that needs to get approved and I go to them versus another agent who maybe doesn't write that much towing, more than likely I'm going to get that approved over that other agent just because how much business we're feeding them. So there's that for relationships. And then there's relationships like underwriters want to deal with an agent that knows that niche and knows their customer base. And then obviously like having the relationships with my current customers is huge. Like a guy called me the other day who I haven't spoken to in 3 years. He's been my customer for 3 years. And like, he's like, I don't know if you remember my business. And I remember your entire business. Like I, told him he does auto repair, he does towing, he does a little bit of detailing. So it's like, I feel like, listening's big and understanding your customer, but genuinely wanting to learn more and have that relationship. Like, I feel like I'm also friends with a lot of my customers via social media. So like they see my current videos, I don't have a separate account for like my family, right? So I'm posting, videos of like me and my kids. Like I want people to know like I'm also a family guy and an insurance, professional as well. So I don't have two separate accounts. And I think that's, important to showcase the person I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just an insurance guy.
Right.
But Oh, it's real, man. Like, you know, you see it on LinkedIn all the time. People try to, you know, keep things separate, and it just doesn't come off genuine. But you know, you put your personal life out there, it really does show a long way. You know, like you're a family guy, so you can obviously handle your business. You
Right.
know, you're a
Like,
responsible dude, like not just some hey, let me
exactly. Like, dude, like I'm selling. I'm trying to get you a policy so you can put food on the table for your family, and like you see that I have a family. This
yeah.
kind of like it goes hand in hand. Like we're all trying to, you know, make it and you know, advance in our respective careers.
Yeah. So rolling off the relationships, let's talk a little terminology, because you're talking about, you know, agents, underwriters. So tell us the difference between a, you know, a producer or an agent, brokers, carriers, and underwriter.
Yeah, so you know, the insurance company is the one that is writing the policy. You got the underwriter who is looking at the submission, whether it's after it's issued or, you know, underwriting it prior to releasing a quote. The producer, like myself, or agent, is the one that's going out there and producing the business, making the relationships, posting these videos, you know, getting your name out there, etc. And the a broker is somebody like an agent or a producer that represents multiple different carriers, whereas like a captive agent only represents one insurance company, like State Farm, as I mentioned before. And then what else? What was the other one that you said?
So we got producer, agent, broker, carrier, and underwriter. I don't know if we've talked about producer yet.
Okay, so producers is basically the same as like an agent. Like I'm out there producing business, right? I'm knocking on doors. I'm figuring out ways to, you know, bring in business. It's like it's sales essentially.
Gotcha. So what's the difference between on hook and cargo?
Right. So on hook, and it depends on the carrier, right? So different insurance carriers word it differently. So it's very important to look at the coverage form within the policy. Generally covering disabled vehicles or vehicles that you're towing that are on the bed of a flatbed rollback or on the hook of a wheel lift tow truck or, you know, a snatch truck. That's on hook. Now, some on hook terms are more broad than others that they'll extend to like a bobcat or a skid steer, right? Something with that has that's motorized. Now, cargo is really anything that's not an auto related.
Okay.
So, but again, like looking at the coverage form of your policy and being informed of what is the definition of on hook and what's the definition of cargo is extremely important, because each carrier so cargo is generally like if a tow guy puts like a generator, right, on their rollback tow truck, or if they put like a shed on their rollback tow truck, or if they have like a Landau trailer, right, and they need to move some equipment for like Sunbelt or United Rentals or whoever. So that's the cargo form. It can also cover, let's say, a tractor trailer turns over, right, and they have the cargo that they need to store from the tractor trailer that spilled, right? So there's coverage there. That's cargo. Hopefully that answered your question.
No, absolutely. And it's crazy to see all the intricacies of it. Like I've even heard of something called driveway insurance. What's that?
Yeah. So driveway insurance is a lot of repo companies have driveway. And what that is you have these plates, these repossession plates, sometimes they have to drive a vehicle instead of towing it. And the drive away covers the physical damage of that vehicle. So now there's also transporters, right, that may need drive away coverage if they have like a transporter plate and they slap it on a vehicle and they need to transport it right from dealer to dealer or wherever, and the drive away covers the physical damage of that vehicle. And it's a very tough coverage to get standalone, right? Because you're basically throwing it on any vehicle and you're providing coverage, and they don't know what type of vehicle that is, who has experience driving that type of vehicle. As you can imagine, like, insurance underwriter is going to be like that could be any vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the driveway coverage is out there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, hey, what's that called, Pedro? When like say I was a carrier and I needed a little additional insurance, so whoever I'm working with can what do you call that?
Everyone calls it different things. I think the broadest term is a rider policy.
A rider policy.
Like, it's I don't know what you guys call it, Andrew, but basically, I have $100,000 in insurance coverage, but I need $150,000 for this specific one-time thing. And in our industry, it happens pretty frequently, cargo and stuff. So you can go to a company and just buy one-time use $50,000 in additional insurance type stuff. Do you deal with stuff like that? Like, not for us, but for like tow trucks or on your side of stuff, like adding additional insurance for specific one-time or short-term needs?
It's not as available as for truckers, but we can increase on hook or cargo, for a select period of time and then reduce it back. We don't want to get in the habit of doing that. And the price difference is usually not like that different. Jumping from like 100,000 in on hook or cargo to 150 or 200,000. It's usually like, okay, we'll just leave it at there, right? I mean, like vehicles today, there's so many vehicles that are well worth over 100K. So
what is the standard coverage for you guys? I was about to say, like, man, most vehicles now easily can approach $100,000, man. So
right.
What are you writing policy limits out?
Yeah, I mean, I usually recommend not going any lower than like 150,000 in on hook and cargo for like your medium duty towing company. I just feel like, that's a pretty solid number. Now, if they're going to be towing if they're going to be landing a contract with like, Tesla or, some of the higher end contracts, then like I'll if it's a company that's only hauling for like Copart or IAA or only like damaged vehicles, like they don't really care what their on hook is. I know they're required to have like 25,000. So it really depends on the towing operation, but I still recommend 150K because even though they still say they're only doing that, if they get a call from somebody, they're going to pay good money. Like they're going to take it. And like, they're not going to have enough coverage to tow that vehicle. So I always recommend higher coverage, whether they.
That's cool. So I just thought you just made me think about a question. You mentioned Tesla, man. What is EVs doing to the industry, towing and stuff, as far as insurance requirements, man? Like, can you give us an insight of that? Is it hard? Are there a lot of companies, a few companies? Is it expensive? Are there tow operators that just aren't doing EVs, period, because of new insurance requirements?
Right. So like in terms of the tow truck insurance, I don't think there's like enough data on really like make any substantial changes yet, but I know there's a lot of different, like towing an electric vehicle is much different than towing a gas vehicle. and I see, on all the forums, these guys asking questions, and there's tons of, storing these electrical vehicles with the batteries and like the requirements of all that. And like, I really haven't dove too deep into that. It's definitely on my list to learn more about. And I think as more data evolves, like the tow truck insurance carriers will have more information on like maybe like controls in place that these guys need to have at their yards, right? Or like on their truck. So I think that information will come out shortly for sure.
Yeah, we had a guest on here that coincidentally, like the day before he came on the show, he had picked up an EV. I mean, it was totally burnt to the ground, but he had to completely, seclude it in his yard, away from everything, and stuff like that. So, it's a big thing. I just posted an article yesterday on my personal stuff about Geico is no longer insuring.
I saw that.
Yeah, dude. So, it's, I don't think that, a lot of industries were prepared for EVs, and insurance seems to be one of those. Like, things are slowly dripping out that, so they may not cover it, or the coverages are crazy. And you wonder how that goes for the people like in towing or the auto transporters. You know what I mean? It's like, are you guys now having to up your insurance and get specialty insurance to deal with this type of stuff? So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the fires that are happening from these vehicles, like, I wonder if there's going to be a question, like, are you, like, what percentage of the time are you hauling EVs versus gas vehicle? Like, there's going to be like that question. So yeah, I'll be interesting to see, how that evolves in terms of like from an underwriting perspective with insurance.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy to see. But before we get on to our next question, going back to the Copart. So are the guys doing Copart IAA in Florida needing extra coverage if they're not from Florida?
Sorry, say that one more time.
So are the guys doing Copart IAA in Florida needing extra coverage if they're not from Florida?
So great question. Usually to cross state lines, you carrier number, right? An MC number, to get down there, and like, but it's such a fine line of like, some of these guys are just being sent down there. They're not towing anything down there. They're only going to be towing in Florida. So if they're not actually towing something down there, then I believe they don't need an MC number. So they don't, as long as they meet the requirements for Copart and IAA, they should be fine to operate down there. And as long as their policy doesn't have like a radius exclusion on there, right? Like, let's say Pennsylvania down to Florida for disaster help, and they have a 50-mile radius. Well, you just want to like double check with your broker or agent, like, hey, like, is it okay if I'm down here and my policy is a 50-mile radius? Just like make sure, get that in writing, like send an email, have a paper trail. God forbid something happens. I mean, I know towers that are down there right now, and then there's another hurricane coming right now. So like, also, I would hope there's a plan in place right now for these guys to, somehow get their trucks in like a warehouse or somewhere far away until the storm passes now. So yeah, I think like just double checking, like, hey, is it all right if I'm down here? My policy only has a 50-mile radius, right? Because towing is designed for really local. It's not like these guys are really hauling over the country like a auto hauler would be.
Right.
So double checking your policies is a smart idea.
All right, bro. So down to the nitty gritty of it, man, is why is it so hard to insure tow trucks? Like, why are there so few people that do it? You touched on it at the beginning. I mean, is it just the inherent and a multitude of risk? Is it just such a small market that there's not money in it? What is it? Can you offer some insight there?
Yeah, well, I think it's much, it's much deeper than that, because I think the barrier to entry to own a tow company, to drive a tow truck, it's way too easy, and there's not enough that needs to go on. Like for truck drivers, they need a CDL, right? They need to go through a process, but there's not, for a heavier tow truck, you'll need a CDL, but for a Ford F-550, no. For a wrecker tow truck, no. So I think there needs to be more training and a stiffer barrier to entry. No endorsement on your license. Certain states have it right now, but there needs to be more training involved in order to be able to drive a tow truck. I'm seeing guys, like, I get calls all the time. Hey, I'm buying a tow truck. How much experience do you have? Not really. I have a driver. Well, okay. Do you know how to maintain a tow truck? Do you know how to, it's just too easy out there to get into the industry. That makes it very tough to insure a startup. That's why having history, right? Good loss runs go a long way, especially for that new venture going into like year 3. Plus, these guys are on the road 24/7. There's not dedicated routes. They're towing on, different, highways. They're on the side of the road. Their trucks got to get the vehicle out. So I think a combination of all those things make it a very, very risky industry to insure.
All right, man. So kind of follow-up question. I mean, maybe 2-part follow-up question. So are there things that, could help people wanting to get into the industry? Like say, if you have a CDL, does that look good to the insurance company? Hey, man, like this guy's a CDL, or maybe they were a tow truck driver, or they have tow truck experience, just working for another company. Do things like that get taken into account, or is it just pretty much, black and white, as they would say?
Yeah, and it really depends on like the state that you're in. So there's certain states out there that there's companies that will write new ventures that are, fairly competitive, not just like your standard like Progressive or whoever it is that's writing new ventures. So yes, I would say having a CDL, having a clean driving record, having good credit, having also, like, if you're just starting a towing company, like, be prepared for your truck to break down too, and you still have to pay your insurance premium. Like, you can't pause your insurance, right? There's nothing like that. So I think being prepared for, a breakdown, being, knowing which contracts out there, and not just going out for like pennies and doing like a $50 tow, right? Just to try to make a buck. So I think, having that and just doing a little bit more research, like not just going to buy a tow truck and thinking like, you're going to start getting calls by signing up for these motor clubs that are paying you, your truck breaks down and you just, the amount of new ventures that cancel for non-payment of premium are extremely high. So, usually I can tell like how serious somebody is from the start of a conversation when they're just starting a tow company.
Yeah, kind of sounds like y'all have a lot of the same things that the carriers and owner operators have over here. Having the right license, being prepared, having experience, having a good business plan, all of those type of things. And so cool.
Yeah, and I also think like, not growing too fast, right? Like starting a tow company, having 1 truck, maybe 2 trucks for the first 2-3 years. Like the moment you grow, a tow company grows too fast is like they buy a truck, they feel like they need to put that truck to use, they put a driver that's questionable, and then they have that a claim that makes their rates double or triple that third or fourth year, and now they're paying a truck insurance, they got to pay their drivers, so they just get sucked down this rabbit hole, and next thing you know it, they're going under. And so that's a recommendation I have, is like, don't grow too fast. Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
We face that on over here, like freight brokers and carriers. They both make that mistake, man. They try to scale up too fast, or one good thing comes along and they think, oh, I can use that for momentum. Right. And it's like, just pause and chill, get a handle on what you're doing, figure it all out to the T first. And so, yeah, man, funny, you kind of deal all with the same problems, man, almost no matter what business you're in.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So what have you seen in the last 10 years for rate increases? Obviously, the time is changing, but
yeah, it's between inflation, social inflation, the personal injury attorneys just sucking the life out of these insurance companies. We're seeing rates from last year somewhere between 15 and 30% higher. You got truck prices that are through the roof, inflation, got these natural disasters that are happening. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing right now. And obviously claims that are happening too.
Yeah. So what are like variables in there, like, parades, people doing parades in tow trucks, claims, training, hiring.
I mean, I'll just give you an example. Like, let's say we quoted an account in Ohio today. One truck account, he's got a brand new tow truck, $100,000 truck, $10,000 a year, right? Like, let's say that truck catches on fire, is totaled, right? It's going to take that insurance carrier 10 years to even at that rate. So, they got to price it based on also where these trucks are valued at too. So there's that. And what was your other question that you just said?
So how things like training and claims and hiring people, like how much experience a driver has. Even I heard a story about people wanting to put their trucks in parades, and insurance companies do not play around with that. So it obviously goes into some of these rates. Like, how does that affect?
I mean, underwriters are like us, right? They utilize social media. They can see, they go to a company's Facebook page, they go to a company's Instagram page, they'll go wherever to find out what they can about a company. And if they see a truck in a parade, little kids on, that's in their eyes, a claim could potentially happen. In the tower's eyes, hey, we're supporting a local. There's limited options out there. Like, just be smart with what you're doing. If you're doing that, get waivers, get an attorney to draft something, and don't put it on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, these underwriters.
Don't let your neighbor Jim borrow it for the weekend to go pick up that car from his sister's house. Even though he swears he knows what he's doing.
Right? Exactly. Oh my God.
You may not have dealt with one, but someone has dealt with that exact situation, Andrew. Someone let his fucking neighbor borrow his tow truck to go pick up a car that he bought for his kid. It.
It's funny you say that, because just a scenario that I was thinking about. I had a customer of ours, body shop and towing company, employee, apparently after he was done his last tow, went to go pick up his daughter and her friend, and they went for a ride to like Rita's and got into an accident, right? It's like, you know, like when like putting policies in place for like drivers, like, you know, you bring the truck back when it's done, and like you use your own vehicle for any like personal family stuff that you're doing. Like the truck doesn't go home. Now sometimes the company owners let the trucks, which is another topic, let the drivers take their trucks home, right? And that's risky because now you're having an employee park your company truck in front of their house where you don't know, somebody could break into the truck, somebody could crash into the truck. So that's a question on an application. Do you allow your drivers to bring their trucks home at night?
That is a good one, you know, and you know, even a lot of you know, a lot of drivers, like they use their truck for personal stuff sometimes, even semi drivers,
right?
You know, like they may use it to go somewhere if they don't have a vehicle readily available at the house or wherever they may be taking time off, you know, vacationing on the road or something. So that's good one. A lot of truck companies are very, very strict on that. Drivers taking trucks home, you know,
right.
If you do, they want to know where it's going to be parked. You know, a lot of them want you to have it in like a secure area, blase, blase, blase. So, yeah, you know, I don't think that a lot of people think about that in a variety of businesses. I mean, even the plumbing company, you know what I mean, who lets the guy take the truck home, you know, at the end of the day. You know, I think they, you know, maybe they have, but I would think most are like, oh, I'm just being a good employer. You know what I mean? Letting them take the vehicle home. They can just leave from home, go straight to work. You know, no worries, you know, no harm, no foul in sense. But it's like, hey, did you run that by your insurance guy? You know what I mean? Like, there's the big thing.
Didn't have a yard. He didn't have like a storage lot, and he lets all of his drivers take the trucks home. And the underwriter was like, I don't know where these people live. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, no, I'm declining it. So after that, he went and got a yard.
Yeah. So, man, hey, you know, tow trucks is like where you are finding your thing at, you know, a big focus of what you're doing, what we know you for.
Right.
But do you deal with, you know, the big trucks, man, the semi trucks or anything like that in those type of markets?
So here at NSM, we do have some programs other than towing. We do have a big program in owner operators. So trucking companies that are leased on to other companies. We have we're still looking to build out like a true trucking like owner, you know, your own DOT program. But we do have a sweet spot for the you know, the owner ops that are leased on to like your Landstar, like your big trucking outfits. We can do like what's it called, accidental what's it called, disability, workers' comp, commercial auto in that space as well. But I do some hot shot. But yeah, towing is definitely the bread and the butter. You know, 1,100 towing customers and growing, but looking to get into other thing with wheels. We also do school bus companies, school bus contractors.
No way. That's cool, dude.
Yeah, we do school bus contractors.
You know, it sounds weird. I would honestly think that things like school districts or even school bus companies, like you would think they would be self-insured or part of some like very specific type of insurance group or conglomerate or, you know, whatever.
Like the government.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting niche. So here on the East Coast is a very heavily, there's a lot of school bus contractors, meaning that the school district subs out their school bus, right? Their school bus operation to X, Y, and Z transportation, right? That does all the routes for maybe 5 school districts, right? So that's very common in our neck in the woods. Now, in other parts of the country, a lot of the school districts own the school buses, right? And the insurance is tied into that whole school district. So, it really depends. Like we insure the school bus contractors. So the third party contractors that partner with the school districts. And you wouldn't imagine what would you say the average cost that you think a school bus would be per year for insurance?
I'm not even
Dude,
gonna take this.
I don't know, but I would assume that anything passenger endorsed, school buses, transit, I would think it's fucking astronomical, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, let's say 60 grand a year.
Per bus?
Oh, per bus? I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't know.
Yeah. So keep in mind, school buses only run like for certain parts of the day, and they're on dedicated routes, right? So even though there's a bunch of kids in the bus, right, and you have a lot of liability, the average cost is less than the average cost per tow truck.
And that's why people fucking hate insurance, folks. Right there. Right there. Right there. Stuff exactly like that.
That's insane.
Just so you know, everyone, your children are underinsured.
Well, no, I mean, but the requirements for a school bus to carry, they need $5 million in coverage.
Golly.
I'm talking about like the million, the standard limit.
Yeah.
That the underlying insurance company is covering. It's about like $4,000 a year per bus, the average across the country. But you're talking about like if you get into pockets of like the inner city, I mean, you're probably like $20,000 bus.
So you were talking about so like dedicated lanes. Does that make a difference compared to a tow truck or a trucker that's running all over the place? Like, is that a big difference in the rate? Like, if I'm running the same route every single day compared to, I'm running different places every day.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just because you're more familiar with that route. You know what to expect. The peak times, when there's traffic, like you're used to the route. You're familiar with what turn you need to make, where you need to go. Did I surprise you?
I mean, that's actually insane. Like, so that like that just goes in depth to actually.
I mean, you think about it, it's like it makes sense though.
I mean, but let's think about it though. Like, just because that lane, doesn't say there's not gonna be some crazy person, that comes and sideswipes you,
right?
Like, if shit happens, like that's just nature,
Yeah. Well, you also think about it though from a distracted driving perspective, right? Like if you don't know where you're going, you're looking at a GPS, your mind's distracted, So from that sense, like if you're going on a dedicated route, 4 days a week or whatever, like you don't really need to pay attention to a GPS essentially.
So if me as a person and I told my insurance company, hey, I drive to work and back every day and that's it, would they give me a break?
Personal auto?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends who you're with. They all got all these devices out there that can track you. So
yeah, no doubt. So getting back into it, we talked about tow trucks. How are hot shots and tow trucks differentiated in an insurance perspective?
Yeah, well, they're completely two different operations. Hot shot is, you got some hot shots that are doing auto hauling, some hot shots that are, doing some general freight or construction materials. It's just it's hot shots more lawns, and there's bill of ladings involved. There's brokers involved. You need to have cargo. They don't want to see any on hook insurance. Like if you give them a certificate that says on hook, they won't give you a load. So yeah, I mean, that's the difference. You know,
they don't carry the same insurance coverage.
Say that again.
So it's safe to say that they do not carry the same coverage.
Yeah, no, most of the time they don't. Now, it's not to say that I don't have some towing companies out there that do a little bit of hot shot here and there, or have like a gooseneck trail. They move some vehicles here and there, but generally they're different. Like a hot shot company isn't going to need garage keepers coverage unless they're storing vehicles, you know, overnight somewhere besides on their truck. So, you know, that's a coverage difference. And then general liability for a tower, right, is different because these guys are, some of them are changing tires, some of them are doing fuel deliveries, lockouts, right? And the general liability for a tower is going to completed operations of that. So like, let's say a tower changes a tire on the side of the road, that tire later down the road causes a massive accident. And, you know, that general liability for a tower is going to pick that up. Whereas a hotshot guy is not doing anything like that.
Well, Andrew, hey, let me jump in and give a hypothetical, man, you know, because I do hotshot freight. And I've also know several people that do hot shots, that run hot shot operations. And, you know, a lot of these guys and gals out there, man, they haul cars on these things. I mean, they may also have a skid steer that they picked up too. But, you know, these folks who go to the auction, they'll go to junkyards. A lot of these hot shotters have winches, you know. So, I mean, in a sense, you're doing a lot of the same kind of physical things and duties, I guess, in a sense that a tow truck would have. So, right, you know, in that sense, should some of these hot shotters maybe have some of the type of insurance that tow operators have, just an extra level of protection from themselves, or do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to like, you know, what's their setup look like too? Like, you know, do they just have a hot shot, or do they disconnect that trailer, right, and use their winch or a tow boom, and like, do they have any other vehicles that are just used for towing? So I think it really comes down to like understanding like what's their setup, who they're hauling or towing for, and just asking qualifying questions. Certain coverages can be added for hot shot. But again, it's mostly like the hot shot guys that I see are mostly only doing hot shot. They're not really towing. Some might haul cars for Copar. But you know, they're required to have cargo coverage.
Yeah. That's what I was asking, you know, because, you know, we talked about, you know, having limits of like $100,000. And I had a buddy, he used to haul trucks for a commercial dealership every now and then. And these things were $160,000 commercial trucks. You know what I mean? Right. Trucks for electric industry. And I'm like, dude, you better be careful because you only have 100,000 cargo. Like, if something fucking happens, man, you are not going to be in a really good position. And he can put two of those things sometimes on his, you know, 40-foot flatbed hot shot. So, yeah, it was just a thing, you know. Again, I don't think people, they don't either think about it, or maybe they could be misled, you know, by another person who does insurance or someone they got advice from. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, when I think of hot shot, I think of like they're mostly hauling like new or used vehicles. When I think of a tower, they're mostly towing like a disabled vehicle or a vehicle that's like broken down. Yeah. Now there is that gray area of like, I got a tower out there that does towing for like, is he considered an auto hauler or is he considered a tower? And it can be, you know, it's kind of a gray area. So I think just being like upfront and honest and telling your broker, like your agent, you know, what exactly you're doing or looking to get into, before you do it.
So are you seeing that hotshot drivers are typically underinsured? Because you'd think that
Yeah.
new and used vehicles would have more value than a wrecked car or a broke down
Yeah,
car.
I mean, I think $100,000 limit is not enough anymore. Like having at least 150,000 in cargo or more, even then, I think is a little light. So I think, always recommending having more, because these vehicles today, I mean, $100,000, the Jeep, what's it? The Jeep SUV, the
The Wagoneer.
Wagoneer. Yeah, I mean that's $100,000.
Yep, easy.
So
how are these guys? So like, what are ways that these hotshots skipping on coverage that are going to put these cars being transported at risk? Like, you only have that certain amount of coverage. Are these hotshot drivers having to pay out of pocket? Like, if my car is being transported by one of these guys, am I screwed over? Like,
well, I think that's part on the broker, right? The broker is the one that's supposed to secure certificates and make sure that there's coverage in place, enough coverage in place. I believe if there's a canceled policy, like some of these carrier insurance companies also will have driver exclusions on the policy, or a limitation on coverage if a driver is not listed on the insurance policy. So I recommend some brokers now to request a certificate of insurance and a copy of the policy showing the listed drivers on the policy. We had a claim that got denied. Somebody wrecked one of our tow trucks. It was a trucker. And the claim, and their insurance company denied it because their driver was not listed on their policy. So now they had to go after their own policy to get the truck fixed. Now it's on their own loss run. So like, I would say, like, for brokers to go that extra mile and get, the copy of the policy showing the listed drivers, or getting a statement, showing who's listed on the policy.
so
For sure.
So that me as a customer, would that be a way for me to verify if my vehicle is covered or not when it gets picked up? Like, how would I go about that?
Yeah, that your load, or that your trailer. Yeah, that your load or your trailer is covered. For sure.
So, what are some of the craziest claim stories that you have? You don't have to give any details, but I'm sure as an insurance provider, you've heard some wild shit from Alaska to Puerto Rico. Like,
Oh yeah.
what's a few that stick out in your mind?
I guess the craziest one was where we insured a tow company. They were picking up, I believe, their friend's son at a shop, and the guy was about to get into the tow truck, and a stolen vehicle comes speeding down the road. The guy's about to get into the tow truck and kills the kid getting into the tow truck. And it was a stolen vehicle, right? And so now you have a death claim, and then they're coming after the tow company and the repair shop for like the uninsured motorist coverage, which was at $1 million for each policy. So like, just, seeing that happen and how that evolved, like, that was just like really sad and just crazy for all parties. I've had a few, people just walk into the middle of the street, and like that were homeless and get run over by a tow truck that we insure. We've had a few dash cam videos. Dash cams are so important, like especially for any commercial vehicle, but like, you know, like, and even taking it a step further with like telematics, right? And like having these vehicles equipped with like, hey, how fast was the truck going? The dash cam on the driver, the dash cam on the road behind, like, just being able to dispute, like, listen, our truck was going the speed limit. This guy just popped out in the road, right? And you know, his uncle Jimmy, that doesn't live in the same state, that hasn't talked to him, is now suing for $500,000 because he misses his nephew. You know, like those situations are really tough because it's like on the tow company, they're getting hit with a massive claim and it's on their record and their driver wasn't doing anything. And then the driver's really messed up because he just killed somebody. So, you know, I've had a few of those situations. And then I've had a big fire claim where, you know, buildings and hundreds of cars have burnt to the ground. So yeah, and my wife wonders why I drive like a grandma out there. So,
Dude,
you know, like
intense. Like,
I'm so like numb to it at this point. Like it was like really would, you know, eat me up, and I would be heavily invested in these claims, and I still am when they happen, but I'm able to disconnect, you know, sort of when they happen. Like, you know, it's fucked up, but it's like you just become numb to it. It's part of the nature of the industry. Like shit's gonna happen.
yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. But let's see. What about tow trucks rolling in the water while towing or falling through the ice?
Any claims for tow trucks rolling into the water? Off the top of my head, I don't believe I've had any of those, but it wouldn't surprise me if we actually do. Yeah, no. I'm sure it's happened before.
Yeah, I could definitely see someone in the middle of Wisconsin truck gets stuck out while ice fishing. Just a whole
Yeah, right.
That'd
For
be
sure.
terrible. But well, that's crazy, dude. I would have never thought about that side of insurance, like the true catastrophes that go on as an insurance broker, you know, dealing with that hands-on, especially with as deep-rooted as your relationships are. Kudos to you, brother, because that's like that's right up there with EMTs, firefighters, you know, like different,
Yeah,
but like
getting
like,
that call, and
yeah,
you know, I've had a few drivers get hit and that didn't make it, and like I've had a few owners that got hit and like they're okay right now, but like they don't know who I am. They don't remember who I am. You know, like they're completely brain dead. So yeah, it's a really dangerous industry. And like the least I can do is like make myself like available. Like I feel like why I've had success is because I can, you know, I'm also like I try to be available like around the clock, like they are to the public.
right.
You know, tow owners, like if they get a call during Thanksgiving, like they gotta go. Like same thing as like fire, EMT, like, you know, and I have two phones, but I somehow keep my work phone with me most of the time, like wherever I am.
Well, it's dedication, man.
Yeah.
All insurance people aren't bad for those watching. You got people down here like Andrew doing it 24/7. But
it's not the insurance salespeople, it's the fucking underwriters, man. That's the ones we all hate, dude. That's the ones we all hate.
we're getting down to the bottom of it.
They can hear you. They can hear you.
Oh man.
Well, Andrew, now that you're retired from your semi-professional career as a rec league basketball star, and heard that you had a horrific Achilles heel accident, so we can't find you there anymore. Where can people find you? How can people get quotes? How can people talk?
DM me, you know, I can share my cell phone number. You know, just Google me and you can find my different ways to contact me, email, phone. I mean, with social media today, it shouldn't be too hard to get in contact with me. You know, usually text, email, call, you know, you name it. We'll try to get back to you as quick as possible.
I'm going to send you a Western Union telegram tomorrow for a quote.
As long as it's not a pager.
Strictly pagers over here at Tow Truck Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I'd rather have a pager than a cell phone. Let's be real, okay? At least then you can truly choose who you want to call back. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Yeah, you're not 100% available.
For sure, man.
Well, Andrew, we really appreciate you having you on, brother, and definitely appreciate what you do. Do you have any exiting comments, plugs? You're going to be at the Baltimore Tow Show.
Yeah, I'll be at the Baltimore Tow Show. It's next month. I plan to go like one or two other tow shows next year. Obviously, just getting situated here first. You know, I'd say that like right now we're, you know, just getting settled in at the new firm, but we're looking to really grow and scale this thing. We just hired another salesperson to be by my side that's like intaking like all of like, you know, submissions and stuff. So if people reached out to me in the past and they may not have, you know, gotten a fast response, don't hesitate to reach out again. You know, always happy to help or like lead somebody in the right direction, even if I can't help.
Awesome.
This is great. I really enjoyed this. Super laid back, super chill. So yeah, man, this was.
Dude, you're welcome back. You're welcome back anytime. You know, we do this segment, but you know, Hunter and I have our other thing, the Logistics Lounge. It's Wednesday and Friday. So, dude, we chill in there and talk about just all kinds of crazy shit, man. So we have folks that just come and hang out. So you ever want to just shoot the shit, man, or you got something maybe you want to put out some info or anything, dude, just let us know. We'll be happy to have you back on and hoping for that connection with Brian, dude. I got you. That'd be a great guest, bro.
Check in with me tomorrow.
Hell yeah, dude. I'd appreciate that. I told you as soon as we started this, he was the first person. I was like, I gotta have that guy on this fucking show, man.
Let's go. Pedro, any exiting questions, comments, concerns, plugs? What we got going on this week?
Let's see. What do we got going on? Oh, tomorrow, you have seen him on the show many, many, many times. He actually is the newest part of Lounge, the double broker bounty hunter, Mr. John Cantera, but he's never been a guest. We've never had a chance to interview John and really ask him some questions and, you know, kind of get to the nitty gritty of who he is and how he got to be where he's at. So that is tomorrow. And then Friday is the one and only Tony Justice is coming on the show. If you're not familiar with Tony, he is a truck driver turned country musician. And yeah, we're going to have him come hang out on the show, and we're just going to talk trucking and music and have a cool freestyle Friday. So that's going to be a fun.
Are we going on XM tomorrow too?
Huh? No, that's Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Dude, that's funny. Charles literally just called me 5 minutes ago. Thank you for reminding me. Thursday, we are going to be on Sirius XM again with Mr. Charles Gracie. I have to look at our time slot. I believe it is noon on Thursday, but we'll make a flyer. We'll put that out so anyone who has Sirius, make sure to tune in and listen to the Lounge Boys on Sirius XM.
Let's go. Well, Andrew, thank you again, brother. Everybody watching, thank you so much. Be sure to go check Andrew out on all of his social medias. You can find him on LinkedIn at Andrew M. He is the insurance man. Check out NSM. The guy's got it right here. But as Pedro said, got a lot of shows set up this week. We'll catch you back on Tow Truck Tuesday on, what's that date going to be? On the 22nd. Stay tuned for our guests, and we'll see y'all next time. Where's the
Take care,
video?
guys. Have a
Go
great
Chris.
night.
Later.
Later.